Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, or good morning. It happens to be evening here. So, anyways, this is Gerard from GH Immigration Services here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And I wanted to talk about student permits. I'm getting a lot of questions about the everybody applying for student permits and what are some of the requirements or the limitations or whatever's going on in that. So I'm just going to go through. A lot of this you can find this on the Immigration Canada website if you want to look around in that, but I'm going to go through it for you and try to clarify it a little bit to you in that. So now a lot of people are asking me, can I get a school study permit? Well, the answer to that is and come to Canada, I should say. You can get a study permit, but come to Canada, it's a different story. So can you come to Canada if you apply for a study permit? The answer to that question is no, not at this time. But you can get a study permit to study online with a lot of the designated learning institutions are doing online courses. However, there are exceptions to this. If you currently have, like if you've been already been in school here in Canada currently, and like you went home or whatever the case is, you traveled, you can return on your study permit as long as it is still in an active permit. It hasn't expired. So you can do it under those conditions. You can do it if you get one if you're coming from the U.S. to come to Canada. If you're a U.S. student and you want to come to Canada and you have a application or you have been approved to come to school in Canada, you can come to Canada still. Also, the other exception was if you applied for a study permit before March the 18th or on March the 18th, if it was approved by that date, then you can come to Canada and to a designated learning institute. Now, keeping that in mind, it doesn't necessarily say that learning institution is going to be open. They may have online courses. They may not have in-house courses. But if you are here and you are still taking online courses while you're here, you are still within the guidelines of your permit, and you're not out of the realm of it. So you're still allowed to do that. Now, when you arrive at the port of entry, now they are going to ask you a bunch of questions. One of the first things they're going to do is they're going to ask you about the 14-day quarantine. You have to be aware that when you come here, there has to be 14 days available between when you arrive here and when you start school. So if you come here and your class is 8 days after you get here, unless you can prove to them that you're going to stay for 14 days in isolation, they're not going to let you in. So remember that. If you are coming here, you have to have that 14 days. So that's one thing that's very, very important. If you already live here, that is also something else they're going to check. You're starting your classes after the 14 days. Like I said, you have the 14-day quarantine, then you have your studies then. Let me see now. You have to prove to them that if you are coming here, like if you're under a new permit, that you're coming here because of labs, workshops, those kinds of things are not available in your home country or where you are. So I mean, if you're doing medicine that you're having to do lab work, you may not be able to do it where you're from. So you probably would have to do it in Canada. So that's one of the things you have to prove. These are the things that they're going to ask you at the point of entry. And they also want to know, because of the other reason would be for your home country has restrictions, or else you don't have the bandwidth to be able to study overseas. So those are things to remember when you come and when you're at the point of entry. Those are the answers that you need to have, because they're going to ask those questions. So be aware of that. So when you arrive at the port of entry, you're going to have to show a valid permit. You're going to have to show a letter at the point of entry if you are a U.S. citizen showing that you've been approved to go to school in one of the designated learning institutions here in Canada. And you also, if it's you're just your first year coming to school here, you have to show at the point of entry you have a letter that's approved that your permit was authorized before the 18th of March. Those things are required. Remember, the officers at the point of entry are the ones who make the final decision if you can come or not. If they're not convinced that you meet all these guidelines, they can refuse your entry into Canada. So don't forget that. Okay, so now let's move on to a couple other small things. I'm not going to make this a long video, so I just want to go over a couple other things. Now, compliance. Now, if your designated learning institute has moved to online or completely canceled the courses, you're still in compliance if you stay enrolled in that designated learning institute. You continue to take online courses if they're offered. If it's completely canceled, you have 150 days from the cancellation to change to a new designated learning institution, or change your status to a worker or a visitor, or completely leave Canada. Those will keep you within compliance. So, and when it comes to working, if you're a full-time student and you're forced to become a part-time student, you're still within the compliance, and you're able to still able to work. You're still allowed to do your 20 hours of work outside from the campus, or you're still allowed to do full-time on the campus. So those things are still available to you as well. If you are in an essential service, you're allowed to work full-time. So if you're under the normal conditions, you're allowed to take during the break time and during the regular school times, you have the 20 hours and you can work full-time during breaks. But if you're in a designated, or if you are an essential service, you're allowed to work full-time completely all the time. Anyways, I just wanted to go with a few of these things and just discuss a few of these here and just clear up a few things for you. If you have any questions about it or anything else, if there's something I didn't make clear, please send me an email or a message. I'll have this up on YouTube and I'll have it on my Instagram as well. So if you have any questions or anything else you'd like to know, please don't hesitate to ask. Anyways, this is Gerard from GH Immigration Services in Winnipeg. You can reach me at ghimmigrationservices@gmail.com, and at the services SVCS. It's a short form for services. And or you can catch me on WhatsApp if you want. It's +1 204 333 0744. That's my number for WhatsApp. And it's also my business phone number here in my office. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I hope this is enlightening for you. And if there's any other questions, again, thanks for coming. Bye-bye for now.